Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the paleo diet. So I was asked to go over all the different diets like keto, paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, intermittent fasting. And I was going to do it all in one video, but it's just going to be too long. So I'm just going to break it up into multiple videos. Today, paleo. Everything you need to know about paleo, who these diets are best for, what are some pros and cons and myths about the paleo diet, and biggest common mistakes when people take on the paleo diet and how to avoid them and who it is best for. First of all, what is the paleo diet? The paleo diet is based on types of food that are presumed to have eaten by early humans, mostly consisting of meat, fish, vegetables, most fruit, and excluding dairy and grain products and processed foods. What I do like about the paleo diet is I love that it promotes more vegetables and protein and nutrient dense food. I adore the emphasis on a higher protein and lower calorie diet that focuses on more like natural foods. Overall, I do fully support the premise of sticking to whole, unprocessed foods, as much as possible. Common misconceptions, cons, myths. Well, the truth is, there isn't like a single true paleo diet. There are people living like all over the world, all different climates, very, very, very different foods that are available to them based on their geographic location during that era. So to say that there's like a single way of eating paleo is very misleading. There's no single right way to eat paleo. Some communities, would eat a very high fat, low carb diet, and whereas others ate a relatively high carb, low fat diet. Paleo fanatics have like this insistent, persistent hate and demonize, carbohydrates and dairy and even like sometimes fruit. They say that the human body wasn't designed to process these foods and digest these foods, so therefore we shouldn't eat them. But that is incredibly short-sighted and just factually very incorrect. We are very capable of handling these foods, and we have demonstrated it over the years, and we can thrive off of them. The Japanese, for example, a huge portion of their diet is white rice. They are thriving off it. They consistently and remain one of the healthiest populations. Paleo proponents insist that processed foods are inherently fattening and cancer-causing and blah, blah, blah. Their reasoning behind it is that you shouldn't eat anything that wasn't available in the Paleolithic era. Meanwhile, there are now paleo powders, paleo bars, paleo proteins, paleo bread, none of which was available during that era. And I'm not saying that any of these products are bad, but it's just a very contradicting way of their own arguments. The biggest mistakes that I see when people take on a paleo diet is they just don't like eating this way. So they're choosing a way of eating that they just don't truly enjoy. If they don't like this diet, then it's going to be too restrictive, and when you have too much of a restriction on your diet, that leads to binge eating, unhealthy relationship with food, all or nothing mindset, which ultimately is like, oh, if you eat some grains or a piece of bread, you fail. Now you're not a paleo. So now what? It's probably going to take you a while to get back on that diet because you're just going to avoid it as much as possible because it sucked. If it's too restrictive, it just leads to binge eating, and then you completely go hog wild on all the foods that you were restricting that you actually enjoy, instead of learning how to incorporate those into your current diet in a way to get to your goals. So if you don't like a paleo way of life, then it's probably not the diet for you, because I don't want you to like go and develop binge eating habits and overeating habits and restriction and binge habits. That's not what I want for you. I want you to find that balance. How to avoid that would be to, stay flexible and incorporate more whole foods and more proteins and vegetables. But don't beat yourself up if you have a piece of bread or some pasta or a piece of chocolate. Kind of have a balance of both. Start with slowly integrating into this way of eating, so switching out some of your more processed foods with some more whole foods, and see how you feel, see how that goes, see if that's something that you can sustain. And if you're seeing results towards your goals, whether it's just feeling better overall, weight loss, see what your results are in a few months or even a month. And if you're making progress, continue with that balance. Maybe that's your right balance. Or if you're not, maybe integrate some more whole foods and cut back on some more processed foods and then go from there. So who should do this? Bottom line is, if you like this way of eating, then you should do it. Try it. It's worth a shot, and see what you think. And then if you don't like it, then that you learned something, try something else. Go into it as like practicing it and not an all or nothing mindset. It's all about practice. I'm practicing eating more whole foods. How can I make this meal more whole foods? How can I get more vegetables and protein in each meal? And just kind of practice that and see how it goes. The takeaway from this is to not pick a restrictive diet unless you just like it and you love it and you can do it forever. The last thing that I want to mention is, if you have taken on a restrictive diet like paleo and you're currently on that and you find that it is just way too restrictive and you kind of relate with a lot of things that I have been saying, but you don't know how to transition from eating paleo to a more balanced diet without gaining weight and you're afraid of gaining weight back, there is ways, and I've helped many other people. I've helped a couple people transition from keto and using MyFitnessPal and counting calories to a more skill-based and more intuitive way of eating a more balanced diet that you can do for life and finding that lifestyle. And they've seen even more results. Go on vacations without being like, oh, how am I gonna do paleo on vacation, or how am I gonna do keto on vacation, where they're not always worried about food and they're not always worried if they're gonna have paleo options wherever they go. They know what to choose and how to get results on a less restrictive diet. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. If you need some clarification or help with that kind of transition or anything, I'm happy to help. So feel free to pop any questions here, DM me, email me at livefitfuel@gmail.com. So have a great day and I'll talk to you soon.